Hey there, greetings. I'm Bernie Miklasz, and this is The Bernie Show, presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Hey, listen, please subscribe, hit the like button, leave your comments. You can rip away. It's all good with me, and I appreciate that because I appreciate anybody who supports my work here at STL Sports Central. Also at KMOX, the Seeing Red podcast with Will Leach and the Cardinal Territory video podcast with Katie Wu. I'll be recording one of those later today on this Tuesday. Today's topic, JJ Wetherholt, a star is born, but when will the Cardinals promote him? And in that grand St. Louis Cardinals tradition, I'm going to address a question that we all have. It's a question I hear a lot, which is, are we overrating JJ? Is he just another Jordan Walker or Nolan Gorman or Dylan Carlson or yada, yada, yada? I get the question. Let's go. Let's get into it. I'm sure you've heard about it, but JJ Wetherholt is declaring himself ready for the majors. No, he's not saying that through his words, but, in interviews, I'm ready. Let's go. Pull me up. No, let's do it now. No, he ain't saying that. He's letting his performance doing the speaking and the talking for him. In first 16 games, AAA Memphis, Wetherholt batted .344 with a .425 on base percentage, slugging .754. He's got an OPS of 1.179. This left-handed hitter with a sweet line drive swing and exceptional plate discipline is showcasing his intelligent and mature and advanced approach to hitting. This is no raw prospect. This is no guy where you say, "Oh man, it's going to take his time to kind of straighten out all those, flaws in his swing." We're going to have to really teach him, strike zone judgment and all that. He's not that guy. Okay, 12 of his 21 extra base hits for Memphis have gone for extra bases, including 6 home runs. And though he bats from the left side, JJ's got no problem putting up really good numbers against left-handed pitchers. On top of everything else, he's sneaky fast as far as stealing bases. He just doesn't try to do it that much. But he has stolen 8 bases in 9 attempts at Memphis, and it's an underrated part of his game that could really help the Cardinals in the future because they are awful at stealing bases, and they don't have enough athletes on the roster. Now, listen, JJ probably won't be a 30 to 40 stolen base guy in the majors, but I read an interview where he was talking about stealing bases, and he explained how he gets good reads and he knows when it's a good time to go. In other words, once again, a very, very smart dude, okay? And when he does go this season, if we include AA Springfield, he's got a success rate of 89%, 16 bags and 18 attempts. The Cardinals could use some of that as well. All right, one of the things I want to address is Cardinals prospect fatigue. And I really do understand why so many of you have it. There's a long history of the Cardinals prospects being overly hyped, first by the team, then by the media. And because of that, I don't blame anybody for being highly skeptical about the next heralded prospect that comes along. And I've heard that a lot. Now, I'm going to explain the differences, and I want you to understand something. I do understand the skepticism. And by me explaining the differences, it's not, I don't mean that to say, well, you're wrong to feel that way, to be skeptical. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just explaining that there are differences. Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman are the most recent examples, so let's just stick with them, okay? And it is something I do hear quite often. When we're doing the stuff on KMOX, either the Gas House Gang or the Redbird Rush Hour, it's a live stream show that's also live on the air at KMOX 104.1 or AM 1120. But, we have on the live stream, we have running commentary from people listening or watching, which is fine. Some of the stuff, a lot of the stuff's irrelevant, so I wish people stayed on topic. But what am I going to do? It's nothing you can do about that. But anyway, I hear it all the time. Just by getting those many comments on KMOX during a live stream, stuff like, no offense, Bernie, but the stuff you media people say about Wetherholt's the same stuff, same junk we heard about Walker and Gorman. All right. Once again, I understand the cynicism. I really do. Going back to Colby Rasmus, the Cardinals have had an unfortunate sequence of highly publicized prospects who have disappointed or worse. But I really do believe Wetherholt is different for a few reasons. And, one of the reasons is we're living in the information age of baseball. You can find anything, including spray charts, and you can find every metric there is about how hard a guy hits the ball, what his contact rate is. There is no reason whatsoever to be uninformed about a hitter's profile compared to other younger hitters who have not lived up to the hype. Okay. First of all, JJ Wetherholt played a lot of college baseball, which accelerated his development. He's not a baby. I see a lot of the guys that are rated ahead of him on some of the top 100 prospects. It's a lot of like 18, 19-year-olds, right? Because people are rating them to be big stars down the road, but not right away. JJ has got a real good chance of being a prominent player soon. I mean, he'll be 23 years old next month, so he's not a teenager, and he isn't coming, straight out of high school and making a quick stop in the minors. He is consumed with hitting. He's almost like his own batting coach, and he has advanced hitting skills. Walker and Gorman, unlike JJ Wetherholt, Walker and Gorman were drafted out of high school. Gorman was drafted even though the Cardinals realized there was risk there. Plate discipline, strikeouts would be a challenge and something that they would have to work through, but the Cardinals cannot resist his raw power, and the Cardinals were smart to take him, because when you have a chance, when you don't have power in your organization, you have a chance to add it. You got to take that ticket. You got to purchase that ticket. Walker was rushed to the majors by the Cardinals. Walker was drafted out of high school, pardon me. And then he was rushed to the majors by the Cardinals, making a direct jump from AA to the majors just before he turned age 21 in 2023. When the Cardinals made that decision before the start of the 2023 season to put him on the big club, he had only played 200 games in the minors. Now, come on. Going from high school to the majors with only 200 single A and double A games to get ready, and putting him in right field to open his rookie big league season without properly preparing him for the position switch in the minors when he's going to make the trek from third base to right field. In a word, stupid. Looking back on it, the Cardinals' rush job on Walker was pretty naive and undoubtedly led to his problems after his initial success. He did have a good start to the rookie season. His final numbers on the rookie season were pretty good, but pitchers find your weaknesses and exploit them. And as they exploit them, they take away your confidence. And then you get jumpy at the plate, and then you start chasing everything. He didn't have a lot of training or just a lot of reps in the minor leagues. And I think that kind of came back to bite the Cardinals in the rear end, right? Another thing here, Wetherholt was the 7th overall pick in the 2024 draft. He was viewed as the top hitter in the draft class. And at one point, he was in strong consideration to be the 1st overall pick. But then he had a recurring hamstring issue in his final season of college ball at West Virginia. But that's the 7th overall pick. Those dudes are in there's nothing guaranteed about anybody where they're drafted. But those dudes are drafted in the top 10 for a reason. They're considered the best. They're considered to have special traits that people drafted after them don't have. Gorman was drafted 19th overall. Walker was drafted 21st overall, and neither guy had the refined, polished hitting approach, the plate discipline, the bat-to-ball skills that Wetherholt possesses. The comparisons to Walker and Jordan, with all due respect, make little sense. These guys are still learning to hit in the big leagues. And when JJ Wetherholt gets to the big leagues, I'm not saying that he's going to hit the ground. He's going to come he's going to get 2 hits and a walk in his first game, and he'll never have bad games or never have a quiet 3 or 4 days. No, there will be a period of adjustment. But when he reaches St. Louis later this season, presumably, unless the franchise is really dumb, Wetherholt will be much more advanced than Gorman and Walker were compared to when they entered the majors. It's not even close. A more applicable, listen, sometimes maybe I bore you with sort of historical perspective. I think it's valuable to have historical perspective. And I know it sort of goes against the Twitter X mentality. Forgive me. I like to tap into my historical perspective because it can teach us, including myself, it'll teach us some things. I think if we're going to compare, there's another comparison I have in mind for Wetherholt. I'll get to that later, but a more applicable comparison in terms of the draft and in terms of the hitter would be JD Drew, who was drafted 5th overall by the Cardinals in 1998, including his time in the Northern League, where he played after refusing to sign a contract when the Phillies drafted him in 1997. Drew had only 99 games of minor league ball before the Cardinals promoted him to the big club in September of 1998. And he didn't need much minor league experience. And frankly, I don't think Wetherholt does either. He was a pretty advanced hitter as soon as he signed that Cardinals contract and went to the minors at high A last year, or Class A, whatever. Listen, JD Drew was a very good major league hitter who posted an OPS plus that was 30% above the league average offensively during his peak seasons, 2000 through 2009 or 2010. Now, Drew had a 31 homer season and a 27 home run season during a time when baseball was still the wild, wild west with no policing of performance-enhancing drugs. And timeout, I'm not saying Drew used those things. In fact, I'm saying the exact opposite, because we saw massive power numbers offensively in baseball, and there were clowns out there bashing 35 or more home runs in a season. Drew didn't base his game on home runs. And so when he hit 31, that wasn't a big deal. When he hit 27, that wasn't a big deal. And it wasn't something where it's like, oh, I hit 30 home runs, now I'm going to go for 40. No. JD Drew was a very composed, natural hitter who did not shoot for home runs. He was not obsessed with home runs. At his peak, he hit for average. He drew walks. He had a great on-base percentage, and he had plenty of power, but it was a lot of doubles. And he was a guy that would be anywhere from, 18 to 23 to 24 home runs, and sometimes more. But he wasn't a one-trick pony, JD Drew. He wasn't a one-dimensional slugger. He wasn't one of these guys, and we see a lot of them throughout Major League Baseball, who go up to the plate, grip it and rip it. That's their hitting approach. Grip it, grip it and rip it. Hit the ball far. Go for the home run every damn swing, right? JD Drew was not that. And there are a lot of similarities if you compare their profiles as they entered professional baseball, and then what will be the major leagues entering that for JJ Wetherholt. Also, they both are known by their initials, JD, JJ. I just realized that. Aren't I clever? Let me roll my eyes. Anyway, Wetherholt has a similar profile and approach as JD Drew. This season in the minors, Wetherholt's got a 15% walk rate and a 13% strikeout rate. You don't see that very often. Walker and Gorman were nothing like that. I don't need to tell you that, but for the record, in the minors, Walker had a strikeout rate that was more than twice as high as his walk rate. And there is no reason for me whatsoever to give you any kind of numbers on Nolan Gorman, because we know all about the swing and miss and strikeout stuff. I would also say this: Walker is below average defensively. Gorman is below average defensively. And all of the prospect values that I have read and that I know, and I have talked to a couple of them, describe Wetherholt as an above average defender, capable of playing shortstop, second base, and third base. They're not saying he's a Gold Glover, but they say, hey, you have no problem, man. He'll play fine defense. He's probably a little undervalued there. But with the kind of offense he's going to produce, don't worry about it. He doesn't have to win a Gold Glove. He's certainly going to come into the big leagues as a better fielder than the other two guys we just talked about. Wetherholt also has no platoon split advantages. He hits righties and lefties without a hitch. We can't say that about Walker and Jordan. In fact, Jordan Walker, we can't say that about Walker and Gorman. I'm having a hard time today. I apologize to you. But we can't say that about those guys. And, Jordan Walker, for the most part, he's actually worse. He's a right-handed hitter, but he's actually worse against left-handed pitchers. It doesn't make sense. JJ Wetherholt runs the bases well. And as I mentioned, there is a stolen base element to his game that I think he will draw out as he gets more experience in the big leagues. And I mentioned J.D. Drew was 30% above league average during his peak seasons. Okay. Oh, that's a pretty long time. Well, given Wetherholt's plate discipline, high contact rate, his hit to all fields approach, it's hardly a big time stretch or reach to think he can develop into a big league hitter who comes in at about 30% above league average, if not better. I have another comparison to make that's a lot closer to home. When I return to for my second segment here on the Bernie Show, I will get into that and also talk about JJ Wetherholt's timetable for promotion. So let me dig into that after I first tell you about DraftKings. We're into the stretch run of the baseball season, and it's an ideal time for you to get in there and try the daily Pick Six fantasy game at DraftKings. And before long, you'll be able to get into NFL and college football fantasy pick games, right, at DraftKings. For now, the focus remains squarely on baseball. You have a chance in this late stage of the season to just learn, to get indoctrinated, learn how to play, learn how to win. And if you're a new customer, DraftKings will give you some bonus dollars to make your picks if you sign up, when you sign up. DraftKings Pick Six makes it easy to get started. And so put that baseball knowledge to good use and take your swings at winning cash prizes. You start by downloading the outstanding Pick Six app from DraftKings. There's nothing complicated from that point on going to make your daily selections. Each day, DraftKings sets a stat line of dozens of major league hitters or pitchers for their next game. So you just pick more or less on the stat line for two or more players, and you're in the game for a shot at success. Here's one for you. Miles Mikolas starts for the Cardinals tonight. Even though he's pitched well in his last two starts, he still allowed more than a hit per inning in those last two starts. The Dodgers have a lot of left-handed hitting mashers. They also have a couple guys with kind of reverse platoon splits, right-handed batters who hit right-handed pitchers. DraftKings has set a line of 4.5 hits against Mikolas in this one. If you select more, then you will win if Mikolas allows at least 5 hits, which he has done in his last two starts. I also like Brendan Donovan to get at least one single in this game. For that matter, I like Alec Burleson to get at least one single in this game. And DraftKings has set a line of 0.5 hits for both of those Cardinals. So if you choose more and Donnie and Burley each get a single, you cash in on both of them. Pick Six is available here in Missouri. There's nothing to worry about, nothing to hold you back. I really enjoy playing DraftKings Pick Six fantasy. I've gotten better at it and better at it and better at it because there's a natural progression. I like it, and I think you will like it too. And just a word here. Do not settle for smaller payouts at other places. No, you deserve better. So just switch to DraftKings Pick Six, and you'll be at the right place at the right time for winning cash. Right now, new customers can get $25 to use in pick bonuses with their first deposit of $5. So download the DraftKings Pick Six now and use that code STL Sports. That's code STL Sports for new customers. Got to be a new customer. When you sign up, you'll get $25 in bonus picks with your first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick Six from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick Six not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick Six credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at picksix.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, welcome back to my second and final segment of this Bernie Show. I was thinking about this as I did some homework on JJ Wetherholt this morning and then followed that up with some research because I wanted to see, okay, who have we seen in a Cardinals uniform that has the same positives in terms of hitting style and approach, right? And now I'm going to tell you the player right now, but as soon as you hear the name Matt Carpenter aligned with JJ Wetherholt, I think a few of you are going to freak out and call me nuts because you remember the Matt Carpenter when he was beyond his prime. I do see quite a few similarities, which I'm going to explain between Carpenter and Wetherholt. And if you react with disdain, I wouldn't be surprised because when I was a columnist at the Post-Dispatch, man, I can't tell you how many hundreds of emails I got each day And it would drive me slightly nuts that Matt Carpenter never received, in my opinion, the full level of appreciation here in St. Louis that he deserved especially during his peak years. So let me start off with this. I gave you the Carpenter Wetherholt comparison, except Wetherholt is a faster, quicker, more athletic, and more defensively capable version of Carpenter. So I'm not saying he's going to be Carpenter, the guy who can't run, who can't steal, who's not very athletic, who's not very good defensively. Wetherholt has Carpenter's hitting skills, plus all of the stuff I just talked about that would make him, in theory, should make him, in theory, better than Carpenter because he has a better all-around game. As for the similarities, they both hit from the left side. They both have excellent plate discipline. In his peak seasons, 2012 through 2018, Carpenter walked 13% of the time and only struck out 19% of the time. We're seeing JJ with that kind of ratio down in the minors. And when you have strong plate discipline, that transfers to the majors. It doesn't change. Carpenter and JJ both have or had high on-base percentage probability. During his peak, Carpenter generated a 377 on-base percentage. In the minors, JJ's over 400 for on-base percentage. And I'm not saying he's going to do that in the majors, but he's certainly capable of being in a really good range. 360, 370, 375 in terms of on-base percentage once he gets comfortable in the big leagues. Because everything he has done from West Virginia all the way through AAA tells us so. JJ, like Carp, has no problem putting up good numbers against lefties. JJ, like Carp, has strong leadoff hitter skills. In fact, I think JJ will be the Cardinals' leadoff hitter in time. I do, which also gives you a chance to move Donovan down in the lineup. And if you remember early in the season when he wasn't hitting leadoff, he was putting up really good numbers batting third and maybe batting fifth from time to time. Carpenter was the best leadoff hitter in the majors from 2012 through 2018. And you say, what are you talking about, Bernie? He didn't steal bases. My gosh, if I can hear that one more time, I'm going to take this desk and tip it over. I don't care about stolen bases out of the leadoff spot. Now, if you can get them, that's a bonus. But among 46 major league leadoff hitters that had at least 1,000 plate appearances between 2012 through 2018, Carpenter ranked first in on-base percentage, which is the biggest responsibility of a leadoff hitter, to get your ass on base. He ranked first in on-base percentage, second in OPS, third in slugging. And if we use weighted runs created plus, Carpenter ranked number one among all regular leadoff hitters over those seasons with a level of offense that was 43% above league average offensively. Carpenter didn't steal bases. And if that was a big deal to you, you probably didn't like him up there. But he was a superb leadoff hitter. But again, the difference is Wetherholt's legs. He runs very well. He can steal bases. He's got great base running instincts. Matt Carpenter, I love him, man. How many outs did he run into? JJ understands the strike zone, and he should be an on-base machine. And I don't know if he'll match Carpenter's power. Peak seasons, Carpenter as a leadoff man slugged like 490. But Wetherholt certainly will rack up enough doubles and triples and homers to put together a good slugging percentage over time. And most of the evaluators I've talked to really believe the power will come. In fact, we're seeing that at Memphis. Like, in other words, I'm not going to just kind of limit him to being like, well, listen, he'll hit for a high average, get on base, hit doubles. No, I think the home runs will come, but they'll come naturally based on his great hitting approach. Listen, I don't know if JJ would develop into a 30 home run guy, though Keith Law thinks it's possible. And JJ Wetherholt certainly has got 20 home run capability in him, if not right away in the majors, but after he gains some big league experience. And like Carpenter, JJ will in fact spray a lot of doubles. I have no doubt about that. One more thing to say about this comparison. Matt Carpenter is a 100% lock for the Cardinals Hall of Fame, and well-deserved. He fueled a terrific offense for a long time from that leadoff spot. So if Wetherholt can perform, once he gets established, if he can perform close to that level, I'm thinking everyone would be really happy with that. providing that they're sane. Anyway, is Wetherholt a potential superstar? I don't know, but it's possible. In other words, I'm not going to put any limits on him. I do believe in having patience, but I'm not going to put any limits on him. I'm not going to be one of these crazies that if his first month in the big leagues, he hits like 223. So, here we go again. Here we go again. No, I'm not going to be one of those loons. But I do know this. It's been a long, long time since the Cardinals developed a left-handed hitter with JJ's confidence, his charisma, his aura. And yeah, he does have aura. He's a natural-born hitter who just utterly believes in himself that there's no pitcher who can beat him every time he goes to the plate. I've said it before. I'll say it again. This has nothing to do with a statistical comparison. Nothing at all. But JJ Wetherholt has got that natural Bryce Harper vibe about him. And the Cardinals really need that. The Cardinals need a lot more of a really confident, charismatic, good vibe, total belief in his own ability, doesn't get flustered, doesn't get down, doesn't get rattled. The Cardinals need a lot more of that. Let's face it. As I've said a million times, the Cardinals and their fans, some fans, and the media really overrate Cardinals players. They take good players and they try to turn them into something else. I was reading something the other day about Mason Wynn, and somebody was writing about how, well, if he hits a little more, he'll be in the same class with Bobby Witt Jr. and L.A. De La Cruz. Talking about Mason Wynn. No, he won't. Okay? No, he won't. So you do a disservice to Mason Wynn by making those ridiculous comparisons, predicting he's going to be Bobby Witt Jr. You're doing him a disservice. So stop it. Anyway, the Cardinals have too many guys who get flustered and lose confidence and stray from their hitting approach as soon as they have a bad week. And JJ Wetherholt ain't that guy. So when will Wetherholt make his way to St. Louis? The Cardinals have a home series against the Pirates. It begins August the 25th. I'm told that if he comes up then, he would still maintain his rookie eligibility for 2026. The latest, I would say September 1st. It makes a lot of sense. It's the start of a 6-game homestand or create some buzz. That would be fun at Busch Stadium. I'm not saying he's going to pack the stadium. I'm not an idiot. The Cardinals did a lot of damage to the franchise. It's going to take more than one player to get 40,000 back in that ballpark on a weeknight or whatever. And if Wetherholt is here at the start of September, he'll definitely retain his rookie status for 2026. Why is that important? Well, if he's a rookie next season, he could, in theory, well, not in theory, he would get them a draft pick if next season, if he wins Rookie of the Year. I can't handicap that. But again, he's got enough talent to where he could put himself in contention for that. And by the way, as I wind down on this, I don't want to hear any stuff about, oh, no, Bernie, they can't. They got to keep him in Memphis the entire season. Because, Bernie, you got to understand something. You can't give him a roster spot, the 40-man, because that would take a roster spot away from another minor leaguer who's got to go on the 40-man roster this coming season, off season. And Bernie, JJ doesn't, you don't have to put him on the 40-man roster because he's not at that time in his career, obviously, where you have to put him on the roster. So he can stay down there, and that way the Cardinals get to keep leave a spot for another minor leaguer who they wouldn't have to risk losing to the Rule 5 draft. So, Bernie, you need to be a little smarter than this. You know what? That's ridiculous. Oh, so the Cardinals are so exorbitantly talented in minors. They have so many incredibly talented players. Oh, my gosh, they don't know what to do with them. If they got to make room for 6 or 7 of those guys, oh, my goodness. Oh, be still, my heart. This could be a crisis. Are you people bonkers that actually believe this? Finding room for prospects that are going to go on the 40-man roster? What? Is this splitting the damn atom? Are you serious? The reason when you say, well, why are you getting so worked up about this, Miklas? There's a reason, because this is another St. Louis media tradition that has slowly driven me insane, right? I can't tell you how many times through the years it's just like, well, they can't promote this guy or they can't do this. Oh, if they bring this guy up, even it's like some guy like a pitcher or a hitter that they could use at the major league. Well, if they bring them up, they'd have to put them on the 40-man, and there's no room. There's no room on the 40-man. And so I would always I would smile and laugh, and I would go to the Cardinals roster, the 40-man roster at that time. I could see 7, 8 guys who basically were roster filler. And it's like, no, they can't bring up that really good hitter, even though they need offense, because you'd have to put them on the 40-man. And then that means you have to take somebody else off. Wow. Okay. You got to take your 5th outfielder who doesn't play off the 40-man. Woo! And that's why I go nuts every time I hear this talk of the 40-man. The people, and here's the real thing, and I'll calm down, but I think we all can agree with this. The people who are cackling like Chicken Little about the 40-man evidently haven't noticed the Cardinals being ranked 19th now in average tickets sold to home games this season. And of course that you've noticed, and I'm being sarcastic to make a point. Listen, unless the Cardinals are complete idiots, they'll be marketing JJ Weatherspoon extensively this coming off season, because one way or the other, he's going to be huge in 2026 in terms of where he fits and what he represents and what he can bring and the star power and all that. He is their next star, and he can move the needle on fan interest. And again, I'm not predicting you call him up in September and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't even get a ticket anymore. No, I'm not saying that. But you got to start moving the needle on fan interest. And the best way to start the marketing campaign is to get JJ up here, because he deserves it, by the way, and to present a sneak preview of coming attractions. The Cardinals are going to have to sell a rebuild, unless they're dishonest and won't call it a rebuild. But they're in a rebuild already, and it's going to continue in 2026. And after damaging their product and their brand through complacency and neglect, and having the 22nd winning percentage in baseball over the last 3 years, as this team rebuilds under Chaim Bloom, JJ Wetherholt is someone that can stir excitement. Yo, my friends, this isn't just about baseball and 40-man rosters. This is about selling baseball in a market that is losing interest. There's much more to this about, well, where's he going to bat in the lineup? Can you really afford to put him on the 40-man? Oh my gosh, open your eyes. This is about selling baseball in a market that right now doesn't give a damn about the Cardinals, not the way they used to. And I get that, and fans have a right to be displeased. Their money, they can spend it however they want to. But what's true is that JJ Wetherholt is going to be a very important figure in the process of stimulating, or should I say re-stimulating, interest in this boring, also-ran team that has some good players, that is, as much as the media in this town and the Cardinals themselves want to make us believe that they're great players and they're not. They need to stir it up out there. And I think Chaim Bloom's going to do it in the offseason, because I see some trades coming. But anyway, get Wetherholt up here by September 1st, August 25th, September 1st. Don't be stupid. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments, hit the like button, and please subscribe. And thanks to DraftKings for presenting The Bernie Show. And I hope I got through this video without calling him Weatherspoon. I used to love a basketball player play for the Bullets, who was named Witherspoon. And every time I type in JJ's name, sometimes my fingers want to go to spoon. So if you're wondering if I've said that, you're wondering if I lost my mind. Well, yeah, I've lost my mind. We all know that. But that explains I have a typo in my mind. His name is JJ Wetherholt. And thank you for watching. Thanks to DraftKings for presenting The Bernie Show. Take care.